Now, for more on the economics of cultural tourism, I'm joined by travel expert Mark Murphy. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Rachelle.
Now, when you look at the amount of money that goes into putting on one of these incredibly intricate carnivals or some of these sporting events, is it ever really worth the return on investment?
Well, when it comes to tourism, the answer is yes. I can't say that's the case with, let's say, the Olympics, because the amount of the money that goes towards producing the Olympics, it's hard to recoup that. That's more about prestige and other things. But when you're talking about carnival and festivals and things like that, those are true tourism drivers. You look at the economic impact in Rio. It's a big expense, but the economic impact is $1 billion because it touches everything from the cab drivers to the restaurants to the hotels to the airport workers to the airlines. Travel is the largest industry in the world, and you see it very much on display this month all over the world.
So how do some of these one-hit wonder cities that have things like just like one major carnival or one key attraction, how do they tend to fare economically once the crowds are gone?
Well, so like you heard in the earlier segment, in many cases, the lead up is creating an economic impact. So that happens. At the time, they're able to command significant rates for that period. But then you've got places like New Orleans, where New Orleans is a foodie destination. It's a convention destination. There's a host of reasons to go to New Orleans. There are new things that they're bringing in. If you want to go eat some bugs, you can do that at the Insectarium there. So you can go out on a swamp tour and see what that's like, which is pretty amazing. I've done these things. So there are other things that smart destinations do to extend the brand and extend the selling season. And that's why you see places doing things like jazz festivals during the downturn, because that'll bring in the music aficionados for that period of time. And that's how you extend a one-hit place to a multi-hit place and eventually a year-round destination.
Now, you mentioned New Orleans, and most people primarily outside of the U.S. really only know it for Mardi Gras, and you also have Rio de Janeiro with its Carnival. Now, is there a danger then that once you're really just well known for one big event, that you may alienate this wider range of tourists? And if so, how can cities change that perception and be more inclusive without losing their core visitors?
Well, I think it starts with the travel industry as a whole. So what the travel industry does is they meet globally in places like Berlin next month, in London in November, World Travel Market, ITB. And there, folks put together packages and plan festivals and plan events to bring people in. And I think what happens is the engine of travel starts with the industry, starts with travel agents, starts with spreading the word about what is really going on there. I think you're right. From a visibility standpoint, New Orleans is known for Mardi Gras. But then some people look and say, well, do I want to be there where the prices are really high and people are, coming in droves, or do I want to go experience Bourbon Street when it's just a Friday or a Saturday night and it's still exciting, it's still a lot of fun? And you've got people on both sides of that equation. So I don't think that's as hard of a challenge as some might think to overcome that.
Now, how large of a market is this so-called cultural tourism, and how do you see it growing?
All right, so cultural tourism is all about the experiences. So it's not about going and staying in a resort. It's about getting out and seeing the people. So what you're finding is, number one, more and more people want experiences. And you're really seeing that with the millennials, and you're certainly seeing that with the experienced baby boomers who are traveling in the U.S. You're also seeing that in cultures around the world. I call them travel forward moments. It's when you get to experience something that you could not possibly experience without travel, and that's life-changing. And so more and more people are doing that. And the economic impact of cultural tourism over the years has been better educated folks spending more, staying longer, so it's more profitable, and it creates a bond between the people of that destination with those visitors. And that's how we transcend a lot of the things we're hearing with politics today and everything else. The people can rise up and people can make the connections, and that's what culture is all about.
And as people are perhaps looking for an escape, what are some of the areas of the world that cultural tourism is really expanding?
Well, you're seeing people wanting to experience places like Southeast Asia, and they want to go there. So a place like Thailand, that's been booming for years for tourism, now you see Vietnam developing, Cambodia developing, and other places, even like Taiwan has developed, new things to draw people in to the destination. And it's a big world, but there's a lot of places competing for those tourism dollars, and that's why folks are trying to always draw new people in with food options, with hotel options, with attraction options, and a lot of it at its root touches on the culture. In fact, a big resort called Atlantis Paradise Island is actually bringing Bahamian culture into the property, so a totally new approach to really create those authentic experiences on property, not just off property, because many people never leave the property. So I think that's a wonderful move by Atlantis, and you're seeing more and more of that on a microcosm as well as a macrocosm level.
Well, lots of great advice there. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us, travel expert Mark Murphy.
Thank you, Rachelle.